you so much. A very good evening to all our viewers, partners, and our guest of honor. We at Her World feel honored to curate this talk show, Financial Independence, Smart Choices for. We have with us three extremely talented personalities that have experience in the financial services industry, business laws, and economics, along with our moderator for the day, Ms. Rakhi Bakshi. In the world about women empowerment, financial independence is inevitably an important component to be discussed. As we attempt to discuss themes around women empowerment, gender justice, financial independence of women, and more, I hope this day brings many insights our way. Let me introduce you all to our speakers for today. Our first speaker is Ms. Neetu Ahuja. She is Senior Vice President, Public Affairs at Kotak Mahindra Bank Limited. She has over 17 years of experience across banking and financial services industry. Ms. Ahuja is very passionate about sustainable finance, and in her personal capacity, she has mentored startups on pro bono basis. We welcome you, ma'am. Our next speaker is Ms. Parul Singh. She is IRS Joint Commissioner Income Tax Delhi. She is a law graduate from Faculty of Law University of Delhi and has done her masters in business law and taxation from Nalsar, Hyderabad. We welcome you, ma'am. Our next speaker is Dr. Dolly Sunny. She is professor and director at the Department of Economics, University of Mumbai. Professor Dolly is former director of ICSSR Western Regional Center under Ministry of Education, New Delhi. She has published 14 books and more than 100 research papers. She successfully guided 13 PhD students. We welcome you, ma'am. Our moderator for the day is Ms. Rakhi Bakshi. She is founder, managing editor, and director of Her World, which is a leading web portal that believes in empowering with information on sustainability, gender equality, and other social issues, creating allies along the way. Ms. Bakshi is a veteran media professional, the former media advisor to the Lok Sabha Speaker, and a role model for the girls and women all over the world. We welcome you, ma'am. Our partners are the Honor of Women, which is an initiative of students of Faculty of Law, University of Delhi, with the motto Helping Women Through Law, SDG Chopal, an initiative of Nagrik Foundation, Kacheri, India, and the Policy Center and Gender Lab of Miranda House. I welcome all our speakers for the day and invite Rakhi Bakshi ma'am to lead the discussion.
Thank you so much, Jayam, for that very kind introduction of all of us. And I'm personally, and on behalf of Her World as well, is very delighted to welcome three very eminent ladies with expertise in the subject that we're talking about. We're talking about financial independence for a lot of girls and women, and we feel that only very smart financial decisions will make them smarter or will be able to make them so confident and self-reliant to work on their smart decisions, especially at a time like pandemic. We feel that girls and women should, take such steps which are financially wise. And that's why we thought of, having this kind of a panel where we have a banker, we have somebody very senior from the government, and somebody who's from academics and joining us from Mumbai University, that's Dr. Dolly Sunny. Neetu Ahuja is from Kotak Mahindra, as was introduced, the Senior Vice President. Madam Parul Singh is an IRS officer, Joint Commissioner of Income Tax, Delhi, and also somebody who's very passionate about these issues, which are of social and economic concern. So let me, of course, this is going to be very conversational. Some of the views that Ms. Parul and Ms. Neetu Ahuja would be sharing are, of course, views which are personal in nature. We must also thank right now the FIIC wing of IIT Kanpur, which has always inspired us because it believes in inclusion and gender equality in terms of giving us technological guidance. So here we are really trying to look at something which is inclusive, which believes in equality, and which believes in going forward kind of a situation. So first of all, Madam Parul, because she's joining from a place which is very kind of you, Parulji, that you're joining from there. It's only your passion and your belief in such subjects of gender equality that you've joined us on our show. So thank you so much. But first of all, we are talking about gender disparity when it comes to economy, especially, the concern is that at a time when globally we are looking at growth and development, some of the girls and women who sometimes find themselves on the other extreme end of economy, where they have less resources or less power making, strength to go on their decisions. There is a problem of gender gap, gender disparity. How would you really look at this whole challenge before us, Parunji?
First of all, thank you, Rakhi ji, for giving this opportunity to me to speak on such a reputed platform on a topic which is really important, and it lies at the core of the empowerment and gender inequality, or rather, I'll say gender inequality. Why? What is the basis of inequality? This is the basis of inequality. So, first, I'm really thankful to invite me to speak on this topic. First of all, we'll see like women constitute 50% of our population. We talk about our country. But if we see like how much do they contribute to the economy of our country? Am I audible? I'm audible?
Yeah.
Yes.
Am I audible? There's some problem.
Please go.
So coming to this, when we talk about this economic empowerment, this lies at the core of any kind of empowerment.
Not audible.
I can't hear.
I think there's some network issues.
Yeah. Not audible.
So let's quickly go to the
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, you are
Am I
audible
audible?
now. Pardon. Yes,
and
ma'am.
right screen also. Can I just look at all the screen? Yeah. So
I'm,
Parvati, can
I'm
you?
yeah, I'm really sorry for the network issues.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. We'll manage that. Don't be guilty about it. We are on a digital platform. These things will go on. Yeah.
Okay, fine. So when we are talking about gender inequality or equality, when they say gender equality, I say gender inequality. What is the reason behind the gender inequality? I'll say because when we talk about this empowerment, we don't see the basic root cause why women are left behind. Women are left behind because they don't have any say in the decision making. They have already been seen as a homemaker, like they to look after household chorus. But when we talk about now empowerment, we need to see what will empower them. Empowerment is not about something making just some policies, some debates on the issues. It's about giving them actual power, confidence to take decisions. The women should take decision in their hands. So how will they become empowered? So there lies the root cause, that when we talk about financial, it lies at the core of any kind of empowerment, social, political, if we see. So if we give them the power to control their resources, then this issue of equality will be addressed.
Mm-hmm. So control over
Am I audible?
which is very, very important, as she's saying, and that's
Resources, which
yeah,
hitherto they were not given. For long, a woman's role was defined by the relationship which a woman shared with the men in their life. For long. But now women are going to places. They are now venturing into the fields which were hitherto male-dominated areas. Now they are coming into traditionally male-dominated bastions. So they are doing good in that sense. But when it comes to empowerment, still they are lagging behind in financial empowerment, financial independence. They earn money, but when it comes to handling their resources, the decision-making power, they still depend on their husbands, fathers, or their brothers. So here lies what we have to educate them. Since now they are contributing more to the workforce, now we need to create awareness about the financial independence, for which we are here to discuss today. So I think that's a very good platform to spread this awareness on financial independence.
So thankful that you shared the thoughts, and you're talking about basically that how with all the money, sometimes the actual resources that women should actually work on is limited. It becomes a challenge because she has to not only share, but the whole idea of taking a decision as far as resources are concerned is not in her own hands. And that's where I come to Neetu Ahuja, to you. That when we're talking about women ownership as far as banking is concerned, the kind of accounts that women held accounts, as we call them, Do you see a rise? Do you see that women are taking economic decisions more in terms of volume, numbers? What is your experience currently, Neetu?
So the data is divided. If we look at the financial world at present in India, it's divided in two parts. The first part is the urban woman, and the second part is the rural woman. In the urban, on the urban side, there's a good amount of data representing that a lot of women are already inclusive in the financial growth of the country. However, on the rural side, after the Jan Dhan and all other schemes from the government, we have seen increased participation, but that participation is not that much. On the global level also, you would be surprised to know that there are not many females who are there in the financial decision-making system. However, there is a study by McKinsey which states that about 32% of the wealth, global wealth I'm talking about, would be in the hands going forward. Now, this wealth could be coming because of the transition from their fathers to them or from their spouses to them in form of inheritance. Second, it is because of the financial independence, because of business and the startups and the enterprises that women have started to create now. The participation is lower, but of course the participation is increasing with time.
With time, it is increasing, and that's why we should be optimistic and hopeful. I come to Dr. Dolly Sunny. Dr. Dolly Sunny will, of course, give us that kind of academic perspective also at the policy level as to what should be done, because we are watching gender disparity. We have a gender pay gap in many sectors, and I think all of us women especially would agree that lots being done, especially at the right to the government level to the bottom level, where in rural areas and at the livelihood platforms things are being done, but I think there's a slow progress. What would you say would really become the main strengthening point in terms of looking at strengthening gender equality, especially in developing economy like for India, what we are doing right now? What do we need to accelerate that kind of that kind of idea that women get empowered economically? Dr. Dollison.
Actually, if we take into consideration of GER, at present it is 28.16%, and in the case of women it is slightly lacking when compared to this percentage. By 2020, with the new educational policy of 2020, we try to attain 50% GER in the higher educational sector. Actually, this is with the view that, we have to take Indian Indian universities will have to take the role of Vishwa Guru by keeping into consideration of attainment of financial autonomy, financial independence for the population in general as well as women in particular. Women, if financially empowered, can take care of the emergencies. She can meet the rising cost of living, and to feel responsible and to stop feeling independent, it is necessary. So for being a role model and for attaining financial independence, whether married, single, separated, widowed or divorced, it is very much necessary that she has to be financially independent. If we take into consideration of the twin goal of NEP 2020, that is multidisciplinary focus of education and high research concentration in higher research, higher education, I feel we should take up, attain skills to be part of the gig economy. That is, we are very much used to the traditional way of attainment of education, like attaining graduation, post-graduation, and settling into a career. As Madam Rakhi mentioned over here, we are at present in the midst of the pandemic. Many have lost jobs. So it has also become the major responsibility of women counterpart to support their families. So at that time, if they have attained sufficient skills, that is in terms of research methodology, in terms of data analysis, etc., by sitting at home, they can assist the world-renowned scientists, engineers, because these are the fields which are common to all discipline. STEM is the emphatic area at present. Science, engineering, technology, mathematics. But I would add to a bit to it actually. Not only that, even in the field of law, even in the field of medicine, the same research methodology we apply, the same study we apply. So I feel actually it is necessary for women to attain expertise in this area by taking into consideration of the changing the scenario which is prevailing in higher education.
Yeah, so the word you use, Dr. Sunny, is expertise. And I would like to go to both Neetu and Parulji. Parulji, maybe you first. How do women and girls get more expertise? You know, what happens, and I would say very practically, that sometimes they feel, oh, somebody is taking care of me, oh, things are around me. And as Dr. Sunny also mentioned, what is her status? For example, if she's single, maybe she'll be more particular. Sometimes if she's married, she thinks, oh, somebody else is taking care, things like that. So psychologically also some women, and traditionally and conditioning has been such that they think someone is taking care. Now, of course, so many women are coming out and they're taking those decisions. They're making smart decisions, but the number, of course, the ratio is low. What would you say would really, get women and girls to try and get that expertise? And how do they do that? What are those smart tips that girls and women should actually follow? Parulji. Do we find Parulji there?
She's on mute, Rakhi.
So unmute yourself. Otherwise, Neetu, you can go on by the time she joins in. The same question.
Yes, sure. I'll take that question.
Yeah.
Today we are in a world where
You were. Am I
Carry
audible?
on.
Yes,
Yeah.
you were, I was not given the rights to unmute myself. So I was not able to unmute myself that time. Unmute. So am I audible now?
Yeah, you are. Please go ahead. Please go ahead.
So when you are asking how the girls or women can educate themselves about financial independence, I would say that first of all, we need to understand that there's a difference between financial security and financial independence. When a woman is getting a regular paycheck in her account, that doesn't mean that she is financially independent. Financially independent means that she has the authority, the power to use that money as per her own decision will. In India, we see though women, they are earning, but what happens at the end of the month? Salary comes, वो उनके account में जाता है, and that decision and everything is either taken by their husband or their father as to how to use it, because they think that women, the ladies, they don't know anything. So here comes financial independence, how they can become financially independent rather than being financially secure. Independence comes through financial literacy and planning. Literacy kaise aayega? The girls should start reading more and more about financial stuff. First of all, they should take charge of the own finances. They should not be dependent. The first and foremost thing is take charge of your finances. Don't depend on anyone. Second, now you will say, "Mujhe to kuch nahi aata. I don't know anything about finances." So here you can take help from professional financial advisors. There are many financial advisors. Catch hold of a good financial advisor. They will advise you good for your investment. Third, I'll say start reading and discussing. I see often women, they don't read about financial matters. They come to my office when we, at times we see that there are large amount of cash deposits, huge investment in properties, and then we send a notice. Then they say, "Madam, मुझे तो कुछ पता नहीं, मैं तो account, I don't deal with my bank account. I don't deal with property matters. All the decisions are being taken by my husband." Then I ask, "Bhai, पैसा कहाँ से आया?" नहीं, I am earning, I get the salary, but the decisions and everything is being taken by my husband. So are they financially independent? I'll say no, they are not. They are financially secure. So what I advise them is, first, you should start reading and discussing with people. Watch television discourses. Then there is economic, and for this girls, for young girls, I'll suggest they should start reading Economic Times. There is one ET Wealth. It comes weekly on Monday. It's a very good magazine, and it's very good for a layman. How to start investing. Third is, you should not hesitate to ask any your friend or any acquaintances as to how I should invest money, rather than giving the whole amount, rather than giving the decision making to someone of your family. You should start taking decisions. So this is what we should do for financial literacy. But the thing doesn't stop here. Financial literacy only won't make you investment smart. You should engage in financial matters. हम कई बार देखते हैं हमारे घर की बेटियां MBA कर लेती हैं, not MBA, BCom कर लेती हैं, or they study all kind of stuff, but when it comes to being engaged in financial matters, no, they are not being asked. They are not given the decision making part. They don't sit with their family to discuss things. So they should be engaged with the family financial matters. So if whenever I will start my financial discussions with my daughter, I will involve her when she starts understanding things. So I will be a role model for my daughter. So this will pass on to generations, that financial matters is not only the forte of the males of the family. So this is how we should inculcate the habit of financial literacy in the family. So
Very,
I
very
guess
valid and practical points, Parulji, that you have shared, and good that you're also talking in between in Hindi, and I think that would also do some favor to some of these girls and women who live in rural areas or live in small towns, because that's where also it is really needed. And that is my question, which is to now need to, is that, there are two things. So one is that women who are getting smarter, they read as, or trying to read, as Parulji has suggested, very, very practical tips as to how you should read, understand, participate. But apart from that, some of these girls and women who don't have much access, and we're also now talking about digital compulsions. I mean, the economy is going digital. What would you say, how they can really support themselves? What are the things they can do? How banks are coming to help and educate them?
Very right, Rakhi. COVID-19 has got compulsive digital India kind of a scenario for everyone. While we are lucky enough to have laptops and tablets and our phones, in the rural areas, many people are out of school for a year almost now. Education going forward, in my opinion, would be 50-50. It would be some form in physical and most of it in digital. Vernacular language softwares are something which are a must for digital India. And the government is already propagating a lot of startups which are working towards voice, which are working towards vernaculars. This indeed would support education system in the rural areas. Beyond that, education is a self goal also. We are no more in a world where you do 12th and then you go for your graduation, then you go for your post-graduation, you sit into a cushy job and you are done with it. We are in an era which is disrupting itself quite fast, where we used to have 10-year business cycles, we have cycles of 2 to 5 years. With that kind of changing amount of pressure, which is coming on businesses, the pressure also comes to the household, which eventually therefore comes down to every individual in the family, and equally towards men and women both. More so on women, because they have already been left out in the education system. So they'll have to work a little more harder and a little more faster. The government and banks and other corporates can support in terms of education. And Kotak Mahindra Bank as a bank also supports education under their CSR activity. There are various other corporates which are now coming up and supporting education specifically, because we do understand that COVID-19 has taken away the right to education from the poor. So that's how I think it's an inclusion of more and more people, especially girls, from the downtrodden society.
Also, small businesses, when women come up with their own ideas for starting small businesses, how favorable are banks in terms of facilitating them?
So in terms of the smaller, very small size, there are small finance banks which have come up. These are the banks which are specially set up for the rural areas. There are payment banks which are also now getting into the lending business. There are various microfinance companies which are now funding and financing, self-help women groups. There are various schemes by the government where the government is giving aid to women entrepreneurship. That could be in the field of textiles, that could be in the field of jute work or khadi, etc. So there is good amount of money available. However, unfortunately, there are not many people who are able to bring these women to the mainstream. We need more NGOs, we need more self-help groups for women to bring these women with their talent to the main system.
Okay. Okay. So lots being done, but lot needs to be done. And that's where I come to now, Dr. Dolly Sunny, and ask her as to, we are also talking about at the macro and policy level, for example, the idea of gender budget, which we started to include gender, aspect there when we're looking at the overall finance and economy of a nation. The economy is now being seen through the gender lens, and discussions like these and schemes like, for example, the Prime Minister Jan Dhan Yojana also, which looked at really supporting strengthening, now going like from top to bottom kind of level. What are the other, at the policy level, what is happening? Please guide us, tell us, or what should be done ideally to really make women more confident and make women at large, be able to make themselves self-reliant. Dr. Sunny. Is she audible? First of all, from Dr. Sunny, I must again inform, has written a lot of books and has presented a lot of papers, on books which are of academic interest. And that's where she comes in. I hope that she's able to hear us and get back to us. But if not, Parulji, I'll go to you again and ask the same question. That we started gender budget, we started to look at policies that can really help and support women much more to empower themselves in terms of policy, also in terms of the whole India, which has become so aspirational. Even there's a lifestyle inflation, as we call it, because people have a lot of those compulsions apart from livelihood problems. How would you really look at policies supporting girls and women? Parulji. Hindi में भी थोड़ी बात कर सकते हैं, so that a lot of women who will understand the language will understand better. हाँ, इन कोई बात नहीं, unmute कीजिए.
Yeah, somebody would have.
Yeah, I'm not giving the. Okay, fine. When policy level, if we talk about, our government has many policies which is empowering women. You talked about Jan Dhan Yojana, of course. It has brought financial inclusion to the remotest village of the country. In those women who earlier were not having any bank accounts where they can keep their money, their savings, they used to keep in their house. Now they are depositing it into their bank accounts. So this was a really very, very applaudable step from Government of India side. Now coming to this another policy, many policies like now after in this pandemic, government has started Mahila-e-Haat. That's a direct online purchase platform, which from where the self-help groups, they are actually selling their products, and which is being sold without the intermediaries. So this is also helping them a lot, this Mahila-e-Haat in this pandemic, which is a very noble initiative by Government of India. So if we say from policy point of view, there is umpteen number of policies. We start counting, there is Mahila Shakti Kendra, where in the Anganwadi centers, they have started the one-stop solution, one-stop destination for the women to empower them, to teach them for their skill development, for their health matters, nutrition, everything. This Mahila Shakti Kendra, this is a very wonderful initiative. If we talk about, then there is, then there is a STEP program. Then there's another policy program. There's a support to training and employment program for women. This is also at the block level, initiated by the government of India. So women are definitely benefiting out of these policy programs, but still what needs to be done is, again, I say, just making the policies won't help. We have to change the mindset. So if we say that we should bring more and more policies for women empowerment, I'll say there are good number of policies which are empowering women, and they are changing their mindset also. Then there is this Pradhan Mantri Jeevan Jyoti Bima Yojana, where at a meager cost of 330 rupees per annum, they are getting life insurance of 2 lakh rupees. That's also a wonderful initiative, which is bringing change in women's life, and they are benefiting out of these government policies.
जी, थैंक यू। बट थोड़ा हिंदी में अगर मैं पूछूं पारुल जी, तो पॉलिसीज, आपने सही कहा कि पॉलिसीज तो बहुत सारी हैं, लेकिन जो महिलाओं की फिर स्थिति होती है, दे आर कंस्ट्रेंट, यू नो, जहाँ पे वो अपनी डोमेस्टिक चैलेंजेस एंड जैसा आपने कहा माइंडसेट्स और जो सोशल डॉगमास हैं, उसकी वजह से बहुत कुछ होते हुए भी वो सामने आ नहीं पाती हैं। तो हमें क्या क्या ऐसी चीजें करनी चाहिए? फॉर एग्जाम्पल, यू नो, कलेक्टिवली वी शुड लुक एट मोर ट्रेनिंग प्रोग्राम्स, वी शुड include them in more participatory kind of workshops. आप और क्या कहेंगी, बताना चाहेंगे उन सारी लड़कियों और महिलाओं को कि उनको क्या क्या और ऐसे करना चाहिए?
At the block levels, we can have more it's like training programs, or we can say interactive sessions at the Gram Panchayat level. I must say we should start from the grassroots level. And though we are having this, we are having interactive programs at the Gram Panchayat level and at the block levels. If we talk about the grassroots, so we should, the government is focusing, but some NGOs should come forward, and they are coming forward. Here lies the concept of civil society. Civil society will have to take charge of this, and they should involve, because women will not come only on the basis of policies that government has made a policy, let's go out and avail the policy. Someone should be there. So now here comes the civil society, and we should have more and more women representative at the grassroots level. How often we see, how many ladies sarpanch we see, or how many ladies legislatures we see in our parliament also. We see the representation of ladies is very less, and state level also, and at the national parliament also. So we should increase. More and more women should come into the mainstream and join the politics, so that they should make women-centric policies, and not only make, rather they should implement also. Because at the bureaucracy level, we don't have any dearth of ladies officers. We have lady officers, but then we also have our constraints. You know, we have to work within the framework of the policies of the government. Someone from the masses, society, whom the ladies can identify with, they should create the awareness, and they are doing well. But then again, I will say we should there should be increase in the women representatives in the legislature, for not only policy making but also implementation process.
Very, very valid point, that more women leaders there, and then more decision making powers they have. And so I would actually break that chain and say that women leaders, right from the parliament to state level, to sarpanch level, local bodies level, to women who in their own houses become leaders also and take those smart decisions. And it's only their own confidence, their own understanding, literacy, education, all of these, which will make her smarter. And once a woman, as we say, saves and invests, then I think the whole family really benefits from there. What would you say, Dr. Sunny? We lost you there some time back, but you're there again. What would you say that how we can really make, especially we're also talking about, and you would agree with that, women who are doing great jobs, even at home as homemakers. So those unpaid jobs, women also becoming part of the labor market. So the kind of work she's actually contributing to, whether that is being recognized. So at an academic level, how would you really look at women's labor force participation also?
I'm sorry, due to technical glitch, I was out for some time, and thank you for reconnecting again. If we take into consideration of the overall number of women who constitute 48% of the Indian population, we see that only 25% of rural labor force participation is that of females. And if we consider the urban labor force participation, it is only 15%. So Neetuji and Parulji, they have spoken valid points over here. So if I consider, of course, I was noting down what they were speaking over here. In order to increase the labor force participation of women, teaching is a field, teaching and academics, large number of participation is there of women, but basically majority of them are constituted at, primary school teaching and then junior college level, that is 11th, 12th. And if we come to the upper echelons of teaching, we can see that their number is gradually reducing. And Neetuji was talking about, the language problem. What I have observed is, with regard to women in research area, what I have observed is that many women could study the research softwares, though they much in English. With their limited knowledge in English also, they could study the research softwares and they could become successful research assistants. Of course, now with increased awareness towards Sanskrit language, many programs are going to be rewritten in Sanskrit language, and it would help in Hindi, the local languages, it is going to help them. But apart from that, I feel, I mentioned about being part of the gig economy. That is, whenever a woman is interested, she can contribute adequate number of hours of labor. And if she wants to withdraw, she can be out from that. So they have to master in research methodology, as I mentioned, because by remaining at home also, they can study research techniques, and then they can become data analysts, and they can become statistical analysts. The world institutions like World Bank and other UNICEF, etc., they are searching for good research assistants. So with the multidisciplinary focus of the new educational policy, to my mind, it comes that in academics, we have to give emphatic, emphasis on the girls coming up with mastering research softwares. Say, for example, at the time when I was doing my study, I studied only third version of SPSS, and later on, whatever I studied, it is by myself. Now, 27th version of SPSS is in the market. So if one masters in one software, then the remaining things, it can be attained with self-study. Internet is the best guru for that. So I feel in this area, the girls can contribute a lot. And women, of course, in the change which is occurring in the higher education sector by 2040, the entire change would be implemented in India. So by that time, women have to contribute a leading role, and they can be part of, they can improve their labor market participation also by shifting their focus in this. So that's one practical suggestion which comes to my mind at present. Because enough is spoken by Neetuji and Parulji. So, yeah.
Basically, we're also talking about the smart tips and how women find themselves, economically more advantageous and also employment friendly. So when it comes to employment, they are found, more skilled in terms of getting chosen or getting selected. And that's a very valid point that you're making, that how they can get into research software and make themselves more self-reliant. Another thing which comes to my mind, and which is about digital technology and the digital economy. And both Parulji and Neetu can come in here and say that, there are two aspects. One, that how can they become more digital savvy in terms of using, those digital methods. Also, sometimes what happens, and these things come to us, is that there are, when it comes to digital technology, there are confusions, technical problems, at times a little fraud, that they get very scared. So what can really make them more confident? Parulji, I can start with you and then go to Neetu.
Yeah. If we talk about fraud, then both equally, men and women both are equally vulnerable for this fraud. We can't say if a woman is using digital technology, then she's more prone to fraud. So I don't agree with you that fraud thing. If we are using a digital platform, it's equally safe, or I should say unsafe for both of them. रही बात उनकी digital illiteracy की, तो they can seek help from their family members. Here their family, their children come into picture. Now we see children of 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, they are using and handling smartphones. So we find smartphones everywhere in everyone's hands. The thing is that inhibition is there in the mind of ladies, that मैं करूंगी तो क्या होगा, मैं ऐसा कर दूंगी तो घर वाले क्या बोलेंगे. Even if they are airing something, we should promote them, we should encourage them even if something goes wrong. Of course, handling this bank accounts and other things, that's a long drawn measure. Even our parents who are old age, they have a little bit of inhibition as to कैसे करेंगे. my father who is a doctor, he himself has this inhibition. Online payment नहीं करना है, online purchases नहीं करना है. So we have to promote, and it will start again from the family. The children will have to take the lead. A son will have to teach his mother, a brother will have to teach his or her sister. This is how we can enhance. And now again I'll say self-help groups. We are talking about Mahila platform. That's an online platform for this sale of the products of self-help groups. Here self-help group come into picture. They can educate the ladies of rural areas how to use that platform for their advertisement, for the sale of their products. So it will start from the family, I'll say. Nobody can go and teach anything, to anything, handling the smartphones. Once they get the basics of the smartphone, yes, they can be taught in the, the empowerment programs which are held at district level or at the rural level, or the, training programs. But the basic they have to learn, and they have to take themselves the initiative, that they have to break the inhibitions, the ladies, and they are doing it. They are now coming out of that a phobia of digital thing. And after this demonetization, I'm seeing a lot of progress here in Ayodhya. When I came here, I am offering cash, or when I'm giving them something, they're like, madam, now digital payment hai. So I was surprised. So this initiative, I think this demonetization has broken that phobia of digital thing from the common masses. And of course, it is going to increase. This is going to, get deeper and deeper, this digital thing in their mind. So it is just a beginning. We have a long way to go, I'll say.
Okay, and we don't really want to get so much official about it, but still with your experience and expertise, Parulji, if you can share that what can make a girl and woman a smart investor? For example, how she can really use her money smartly. How does she understand taxation better?
Yeah.
I mean, there are laws then.
Yes, I mean, taxation, again, I'll say that a woman can get smarter only after taking control of their finances. She has to know how much she is earning and how much she is spending. This is the first thing. And and now as taxation is a separate matter. Let's talk about, because usually the girls who are getting salaries, most of them are, the tax is deducted from their income, and they just have to fill the government. We are having a very easy pre-filled form where you just have to log in, and all your income details is available there. And it's income tax filing is really easy. So it's not about income tax filing, it's about how they can smarter the financial matters. So I'll say they should set targets. Now they're earning, they should set targets, like short-term targets and long-term targets. For short-term targets, they can invest in safer methods like government bonds, FDs, post office deposits, something. For long, there are systematic investment plans. In here, our financial advisors can come into picture, or their friends can come into picture. Now everything is easily available online. So managing the finances this way, they should do it in this way. And then after setting a target, they should start saving. Her month, they should keep certain amount apart, that this is my saving, even if it is only 1,000 rupees, or depending of course on their income. I'll say even 200 or 300 rupees will also do. A mate who comes to my house, she takes her salary and then she gives me back some 300, 400 rupees saying, Didi, isko rakh lo. I'll take it once I need it. So, this saving is, this will create a corpus for her. So this is the same thing with the ladies also. They should save, then set a target, start investing where, again, I told you, these are very easy deposits, FDs, bank deposit, post office, and for long term, of course, there are SIPs. So this is how they can start. And after all this saving comes income tax part. So income tax department has made a very easy Saral form where you just need to log in with your PAN number, date of birth, and when you log in e-filing site, your all the details, TDS deducted, your whatever income you have earned, if TDS deducted is there, or if TDS is not deducted, then you just need to fill your income and it will automatically calculate everything. And the refund, whichever is, if you are eligible to any refund, it will straight away come to your bank account. So this is what government is doing from their end. We don't have any separate slab for women. Earlier it used to be, now we don't have any separate slabs. Since we talk about gender equality, why should we have a separate slab for women or men? So, and then they are certain.
Yeah, so that's where
I
think what you said, Parulji, you have tackled a range of points there for girls and women to understand, and I think of course it's all there. It's just that when we reiterate and say, I mean, for example, sometimes we are so busy that we sometimes, we are sometimes lazy, and I can tell you that from personal experience. We have to be a little smarter. We have to be alert. We have to understand that it only strengthens us. And in fact, we are almost an all women team. Of course, there are men colleagues also, and we take these notes very, very seriously here. So, Neetu, any more points to say who can become a smart investor? Also, having seen some of these young girls, who are into this whole modern world where consumption habits have become, which is before us. So there are too many things to look at. For example, shopping. For example, fashion to food habits. It's all getting urbanized. So Neetu, what would you say that girls should do to really become smart investors, to save money, the whole idea of how she can create a body of wealth economy, a little corpus for herself, as Parulji said right now? Neetu. Yeah, so Neetu has to be unmuted. Neetu.
Yeah, thanks. So, very valid question, Rakhi. Financial independence is not about the amount of money that you have. Financial independence means how do you manage the money that you have. So whatever is the saving that you do, you first have to pay yourself. So if you have a paycheck of X amount, you first have to put the first amount to your saving for the future. And then how do you manage that piece of money is very, very important and critical. Whether you are putting money into mutual funds, whether you're putting them in post office schemes, whether you're putting them in deposits, buying gold, doing equities, doing a PMS scheme, etc. After paying 1/3 of whatever is there to Parulji. The way that the transition happens for a woman after she starts working, it is more, it actually depends upon that how is her movement happening as a financial investor and just not as a bread earner or just not for financial independence that she's working. You made a very valid point that most of us are into fashion, into cinema, etc. I would encourage women to go and shop for shares, whenever they feel like shopping. In fact, why not buy a Reliance? Why not go and buy a Tata Motors? That is also a part of shopping, and you are doing yourself a favor by doing that, because your future self is going to thank yourself that, thank God you saved. So a lot of financial independence also comes through what is your money doing for you. Most of us think that, the money goes to the bank deposit and you are happy and you can retire easily. we don't do a backward calculation of the finances. That if you're going to work till 50, then what do you have to save today in order to, eat later peacefully? So most of the females, uh, they miss out on that opportunity, and which, if they do not have the education, financial education themselves, there are a lot of financial advisors in the market who can help women like these to have their own goals and identify that, how they can better achieve those goals by investments, by way of investments.
Sure. So now, Sneh, I would like to come to you, and if there are any questions, because of course I have lots of questions, but if somebody else also wants to be allowed to ask the question, do we have somebody there?
Ma'am, we can carry on. There are no questions yet.
There are no questions. Everybody is listening, I think, very patiently. So again, the same points. I think when we are talking about, I would come to Dr. Sunny again. And Dr. Sunny, you can guide us. Of course, we have taken a lot of points. The only thing is, as I can kind of wrap up also for you, is that whether how to really make yourself, get those kind of courses done, which equips you, which skills you to make smarter in terms of employment opportunities, where you're chosen much more. Then of course, then you should get those entries, and even when you get those entries, you start working, then how you should actually manage your money when you're working, how you're managing your life and career both, so that at home also you're balancing that kind of money, which is at home and which is in your career or office. So I think there are too many angles here, and only that these angles and the chains really merge well, that we see a holistic woman really confident and making those smart decisions that we actually in this talk show are talking about. So Dr. Sunny, any more tips that you would like to share?
Actually, about financial inclusion, I think enough discussion has happened over here. Enough tips were provided by all of you. And as an economist, if I come out with my suggestion, I feel a lady should be in a position to, a homemaker or career-oriented woman, whoever it might be, should be in a position to save 25 to 30% of the total family income. That is what I feel. At least that much should be the savings. And I believe in, investment. Of course, there are various types of investment which was discussed over here. So then what more to say in that regard? And I feel real estate investment is real good area which one can think about. As an economist, rather than investing in gold or, of course, share investment is something different. But after some point of time, what we would do by investing in shares, gold or whatever. So I am a firm supporter of investing in real estate. In real estate in cities like Mumbai or even in rural areas also, money multiplies in tenfolds or, in the unimaginable way after some time. And then at the same time, if there is a lot of free time, why can't we invest our time in acquiring more and more skills? Because, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also training, there are two things that I'll really have to refer to here, and that's very important. I think training, for example, we can mention that how I think, if I'm not wrong, that Paytm started at the local level training some of these women. We in fact saw a woman street vendor recently, on a conference talking to the Prime Minister, and she talked about how confident she was. And these images and visuals really also help us feel better and more positive about things which are happening around women. Also, I'll talk about these startups, because having been associated with SIIC, one finds that how women, when they start any new enterprise or venture, she should be supported in terms of funding. When it comes to funding, I think, are we choosing the woman? Are we really confident that she'll take up the enterprise well? And in a smarter way, are we putting our trust there? So Neetu, maybe you can come in there and tell us as to how women can be funded when they start something new.
So Rakhi, there are various schemes by the government where women are getting funding. So would have to go to the sector level and find out that whether that sector is getting funded or not. There is no dearth of equity which is available to fund women-oriented businesses or businesses started by women internationally. And we are right there at the cusp of a momentum which is going to hit us very soon, whereby international money from sovereign wealth funds and other SDG-oriented funds, which is going to come into India for the development of businesses started specially by the women. So the amount of money which is required versus what is available right now, there is a huge gap, undoubtedly, because
We lost the voice. Okay, never mind. I think there's some technical glitch. Neetu has been talking to us. Parulji, if we can go to you and ask, when we talk about this gender pay gap, I can't really stop myself from asking that question. In whichever sector we are, we talk about this pay gap, and we say that, oh, are we getting paid equally? So this whole equality aspect comes in there. What would you say, Parulji? Your thoughts here?
Being in government service, I'll say there's no gender pay gap in
Not
service
of course.
in government sector. Of course, when we come about
Right.
private sector, yes, they are, and I don't know why there's a mentality that women work less. Rather, I find that women, they work more, they give more results, they give more outcome. But still, when it comes to pay, we can talk about Bollywood. We see our actresses, they are paid so less than the actor. So this thing is there, and this mindset is now being changing, I guess. Now actresses, they are also coming up, they are raising their voices for equal pay. And in private sector also, I don't know how it is going. I guess Neetuji would be able to tell you about that. So yes, there is a certain gap, and this can be changed only through raising their voice by the women who are in the private sector. This, you have to speak up for yourself. For yourself.
Speak up for yourself. It's a very good line that I take here on our world. Speak up for yourself. And also you said that saving is what will really, really make you sail through also. These are some of these very interesting, I would say, headlines coming here. And they're very encouraging. Parulji, of course, being there, you have not only using your expertise, but I think as women, wherever we are at whatever position, I think these are the things, through these conversations, through some of these things we do otherwise, exceeding even our office hours. Sometimes we go and take part in trainings and we educate others and we take that extra time. I think these are also the things and steps that will really make other women feel more confident, make them self-reliant, and make them also work on their own dreams, which is very, very important. If Neetu is there, then I would like to come to her, but otherwise, we'll of course go to Dr. Sunny maybe. I can't see Neetu right now on screen. Are you there?
Yes, I am very much there, but then there are technical glitches. Hello.
I don't quite
Am I
tracking
audible?
because we don't
I don't-
experience that. Maybe there could
Neetu ma'am is also here. Neetu
Yeah.
ma'am is here.
I am audible.
Yeah, now you're audible. No, it happens sometimes, also because it has rained, I think, so sometimes all this matters. I mean, that is what my experience has been. Otherwise, there's no problem generally. Neetu, you can go ahead. We were talking about gender pay gaps, also glass ceiling. I don't know, whatever you want to pick up on and speak up. But, things as women that we see sometimes around us, whichever sector.
So there is a gender, because of gender, there is a pay gap, which is definitely there in the private sector. And that's just not in India, that's a global pay gap difference, which is there. And it's in the range of 25 to 30%, depending upon which sector that you are with and which country you are working for. Luckily, my sector is a little better than other sectors. Financial services has one of the most powerful women who have been there, and there have been absolutely no pay gaps for them, where they have established themselves as good names. Having said that, there are sectors which do suffer from a pay gap between a man and a woman. Like Parulji said, and like Dollyji also said, that definitely we as women are more sincere. We try and give 100%, not that our male counterparts don't do that, but we really take things by heart. And apart from using our mind, we also bring creativity, which is lit with more humanity. Uh, this aspect is changing for sure. People are looking at more and more women coming in to the workforce, and more women asking for it, and asking why the difference is there. This is getting addressed to an extent, but we have to travel the road as it comes. Regarding your second question, Rakhi, about the glass ceiling, uh, the way I look at it, for me, there's no glass ceiling. For half part of my career, I used to depend upon a lot of people, thinking probably my boss would do something for me, or my spouse would do something for me, or my dad would do something for me. You have to take ownership at the end of the day, and that's how the empowerment would come. And a very important thing which I feel in this gender inequality thing is, we don't have to leave the men behind. you know the way I would like to look at it is that 4 men are very important in your life, starting from your father, then your spouse, your son, and your boss. So you have to have a combination of all 4 helping you towards your growth. If your efforts at work are not getting recognized, you will not grow. You need to have a great boss to support you and push you. You look at any woman who has been on the top CEO position, she's always been backed by good people. So it's not a race alone, it's a collaborative effort. Anybody who reaches or shatters the glass ceiling is supported by a lot of people. So you have to take them along, you have to work along with them, and there are people who are ready to help you and support you. So it's not between we versus them, it's both of us together, you know both the genders
I
together.
I totally understand that and always say that. And I mean, when we look at growth and development, I think it is about taking everyone along. And it's not versus, as you rightly said, but it's also to make sometimes men around us understand. That, of course, is a difficult task, not really so easy when we say it so simply. And I think that's where we keep having these conversations, because we are trying also, men and boys, to understand that how important it is to be with us, understand us more. It's not about lending shoulder hand, it's about more understanding. That's what I always say. And I think that's what Parulji would understand, that though there are family support systems, and I think maybe Parulji, you've been lucky, but there are women, Neetu, I must say, women who sometimes are at the other end. They are single, or they have problems even at the family level. Sometimes they don't see any hope at times because of lack of support systems. We must also look at these women, and try and somehow look at those paths and those roads which can help them. And the idea is to actually empower women in general and not really look at sections. So looking at all kinds of women, whichever field and sector they are in, or whichever job that they are in, or whether they are jobless. Right now, there are problems of employment also, as we see. But that's where I think Dr. Sunny has been telling us that in that scenario where there are less jobs, and one can depend on, there are things that women can learn. And that's what we are also saying, that, how she can use her money smartly. When I was referring Neetu, Parulji, and Dr. Sunny about a girl, especially, we deal with a lot of colleges, is that how she can really look at earning, saving a little money, as she rightly said, whether it's 100, 200. So, for example, if she's even studying and going out to party, or to shopping, or to other things, look at how I can save a little pocket money for myself. And this is for all the girls out there. And am I right? Isn't it, Parvati?
Yeah, of course. I'll say again, the same thing I'll say. You should set a target and then save accordingly. चाहे थोड़ा ही I'm not saying be very miser, but frugality will go a long way, because we are not seeing on a financial independence only right now. Financially independent means you have to be financially secure throughout your life. Even in emergencies, contingencies, something happens, so you need that corpus. वो corpus आएगा कहाँ से? If you spend right now lavishly, you won't be able to save anything. So I advise my younger sisters, my friends, saving is the key for financial independence. Saving in any form, I say that it's totally up to you, but saving is a must. You have to be a little frugal in your expenditure. As I guess Dolly ji pointed out that 25 to 30% of saving is a must of your total whatever income you are earning. So we have to stick to that 30% saving and 70% expenditure. So here
Also,
lies the key.
I would add,
Also, I would,
not a great
yeah.
expert like you all, but Parul, Neetu, and Dr. Sunny, I would share this from my own experience of dealing with a lot of people, especially girls and women, is that how you can also really skill yourself, when educate and skill yourself to find yourself more employable. So never shy on that. Equip yourself with knowledge, equip yourself with more confidence, a conviction in yourself, so that you know that what you're doing not only is the right thing, but also that you have to walk that own path for yourself, to take the ownership of your own life and walk on your own dreams also. So for example, if you save that extra money, you can go on a holiday that you are not ready right now so much because you're in COVID-19 time. But yes, doing all that you really need to do. I think what I would really like to request here from the platform is to, maybe we should have such discussions more often, maybe some pointed training capsules that we can look at, and really help a lot of girls and women, because, at a level of colleges, because Miranda is also a partner, we do try and engage with a lot of young women. And this is what is very important for them to understand. And that's why we have woven up this team. And I'm glad that Parulji, you accepted that so promptly. Thank you so much for that. And Neetu, with all the guidance, I think there are a lot of insights that we've already gained from you. I have many questions, but I think as an anchor, I have to really stop myself now. And Dr. Dolly Sunny, of course, your thoughts are always welcome. You have joined from Mumbai. She, as you know, is heading the economics department, which has a new name. Neetu Ahuja, you're not only a banker, but a very passionate worker. I see you very passionately looking at how you can skill yourself more, learn more. That's what I've seen, the zeal in you. Parulji, it's been wonderful. We have not talked as such. I met you on a social media platform, but what a wonderful idea it is to meet and listen to you. Very, very practical points that you've shared with us here on Her World platform. And I think it's been a very valuable, discussion. We at Her World want to really raise these questions, also share our own knowledge. It's not it's not a show where we only want to ask questions. We are getting those answers also. We are discussing. We have a forward-looking approach where we almost take notes of what you're saying and work on them and share it with others. So thank you so much, and thank you to also my team. Today's program has also seen support of SIIT IIT Kanpur, I must say that, and for Sneh, Deepak, and because there are some men also in our team who really understand as well, but whole lot of women. Anushka, who's of course right now in some academic pursuit that she's carrying on, and also of course to the whole Miranda House's Policy Center and Gender Lab, Honor of Women, Jayam and Vijay, and everyone else. Thank you so very much, and have a great weekend. Tomorrow is a Sunday, so relax, enjoy. Thank you so much from Her World. And this is Rakhi Bakshi now, signing off for this
Thank
show.
you, Rakhi.
Thank you. Once again.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. So today we can